Hi, welcome back to my channel, Uniquely Reagan Handcrafted Cards. Today I'm going to cover this 5x5 mini album that I made. I had some spare bit of scraps of chipboard. It was 5 inches by 5 inches each side, plus I had another scrap that I think this is about 1.5 inches or just over 1 5/8 after it's been covered. So, and then I took some cardstock in the center, and then I made 4 signature pages here. So 2 with flaps that open up and down, 2 that go out with a pocket on the end. This does the same thing, so it's a mirror image of that. And then they have flaps that open on the inside so that tab pocket can pull out. On this signature page, there's a pocket for each here, and then on the back page, there's nothing, and then I'm just going to cover the front and back covers with cardstock. But each of the pages in the inside, they are open. I didn't close these, so I'm going to put a tab pull to pull out a piece of paper here. So that's my little mini album. It's 5 inches by 5 inches. I have a 6x6 inch paper pad from Echo Park called Be Happy. I have a couple of 4x4 cut aparts. I was thinking of using this one on the front of the album and using this one inside somewhere. I'm not sure. I also have a bunch of scraps from some other projects that I was doing to make some other bee-themed projects. This is a big kickoff for me, bee-themed wise. So I have a bunch of scrap paper there. This is the back side of a cut apart. This is a 4x6 cut apart, so I'll definitely want to save that, but I don't mind cutting off the end of that. Here's some rainbow paper on this side, but this teal paper with a plaid pattern on it is very cute. I like that. And there's some honeycomb pattern. I also have a bunch of scraps from previous years, my previous year's project. Here comes Abby. Come on. You want to come over here? Come on. Get up here. Come on. Get up here. Come on. So I have a bunch of scraps from a previous year's project. So I might use some of that. We'll see how much I can get used up of that. And we'll see what I can get into. So just hang with me, and then I'll come back to you at the end and show you everything that I've got. We'll be back together. Well, there goes Abby. I guess she didn't want to stay up there in the window. Well, enjoy the music as I put together the pages for this mini album. pages covered here, and I've got the tab pages that are just pull out additional pages for additional pictures or that kind of thing. And so I must have a little bit of glue stuck somewhere. Right there maybe. This page pulls all the way out. There's a little pocket there with a thumb notch. And I paper piece some pages here together. There we go. I'm going to continue decorating and putting the finishing touches on the album here. So I'm going to put you again on fast forward as I do that. I've got some cut aparts, I have some ephemera, some stickers, I have some images that I die cut and colored, and then I have some photo placeholders, some 3x4 photo placeholders that I'll be using inside the album. So just stick with me as I finish up this album and make it as cute as can be. Be cute. So let's get started. Here we go. Well, I pretty much took down that paper pad. I only had a couple of cut aparts left. And this is the scraps. And I think, oh, here's a few more scraps out of that paper pad. These are all the scraps from the paper pad. And I can make some cards out of this. Or I have a bunch of Sorry for shaking the camera. I have a bunch of chipboard pieces that would work good for little 3x5 or 3x4 little chipboard mini notebooks. I already have them separated into sizes and measured and everything. So I have some 3x5 note cards, and I can get some notepad paper. So I could make some little mini notepads out of this scraps and the rest of the scraps that I got into some of it to paper piece some here, but I didn't touch this here. And I really want to get this used up because I have made a bunch of cards out of all of that. And then, so I want to get that used up. So I think I really am going to be making, in the next couple of videos, I'll be making some of these mini notepad. They have a ring binding at the top. They've got note cards inside. So watch for that video to come along soon. And I'll be using up the rest of these scraps and get all of this used up. So let me run through the mini album all together here so that you can see it. On the outside here, I've decorated, it says home. It's got a printable I've cut off the Cricut or my Scan and Cut that I had downloaded from either Creative Fabrica or on my Cricut, and I have a bumblebee sticker. You saw I cut that out of a piece of paper from the Echo Park collection, the Be Happy collection. Here's the front of my album here, and it says Happy Days, Savor Life's Sweetness. And I've got another cut apart here with a couple of flowers. And on the inside, I have a pocket. I had cut a couple of pockets and laid them on my desk when I was making the mini album. So I went ahead and used those up. And then I have a 3x4 cut apart here that I've left into a little notebook type thing. And then I have a tag with one of my little images that I cut on the Cricut. And so I've just tucked that into the pocket here. On this page here, I put some glitter pin onto my little image here. And then on this side, I had from one of the Ephemera packs, the bits and pieces. It had a little tag on this side. So I have a puppy sticker pack from Echo Park, Life is Beautiful, that had some flowers in it. So I used one of those flowers just to cover up that hole. And on the inside over here, I've got This Means Everything on a tag. And then it's got a honeybee hive with a little honeybee puffy sticker. And these pages are not quite big enough to have a 3x4 photo placeholder here. If I put that on there, it would basically cover the entire thing. And so I'm just leaving those blank. If the person who gets this album chooses to put a photo there, that's their choice. I'm leaving it open in a couple of spaces. They can always use it for some journaling spots. And then here I've left this open as a good tuck spot. The same on this side is open. It's only glued on the bottom side, so it's kind of like a corner tuck spot. It says Sweet as Can Be over here. And then here I have a ticket, and then down here I have another printable cut, and then a little flag that could be written on. It says Yay up here. And this side has been really decorated up. So again, I have a little corner tuck spot here with a couple of little ephemera piece, and this is from my leftover scraps, and I just put a printable on there and just tuck that in there. And on this side, I've glued this so that it is a little tuck spot. Here we've got a little pull-out tag. And this is pretty basic. Again, it could hold a 3x4 picture, but it would have to be trimmed down. And here's another printable on this side. Again, another tuck spot here with a little tag and a tuck spot. And again, a tag that pulls out. Where flowers bloom, so does hope. Those bee and flowers, that goes together. Here we've got another little printable image. We've got the beehive. We have a couple of 2x2 cut-aparts here. In the pockets, you can put picture plus some extra bits and pieces. On this back page, it says cute as can be, and we've got the bear sitting on the beehive with a flower that's open so it can have the photo tucked under there. And we've got another 3x4 cut apart sheet with a journaling spot on the back that's tucked into this pocket. And we have the bees with the hive here, and this little garden stake says hello back here on the back. On the back it's blank, but here we are. So let me know what you think of this. I might go back through and decorate with some of my bits and scraps here and decorate some of these up. And then, but for the most part, I am finished here. Let me know what you think of the decoration of this album and the size, a 5x5 mini album. I think that's a cute little size, and just use up, it's a good way to use up a 6x6 paper pad just to create a little cute mini album. And so I took that down, but I do have some bits and pieces left over to make some cards. Or like I said, I can make some of these little mini notepad journals. So look for that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and come back and see me the next time I have a crafty video. Bye.